Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this episode of One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls. When we come back from the break, one of my favorite people, I finally get to interview him. I grew up in the neighborhood where he was. Dr. Bill Walsh is our guest. It's all next on this edition of One-on-One.
Put together a crew of top specialists, and you can do amazing things. Cardiac care at TGMC. It all begins here.
How can I lower my Entergy bill?
Insight.
Insight can definitely help.
Entergy's website that gives you energy-saving tips and tools.
You can compare energy use of those big screen TVs
before you buy.
See how raising or lowering your thermostat can save money on your bill.
Insight lets you see energy costs for a single appliance
or your entire house.
Log on to Entergy.com/save money.
See where your energy dollars go.
And save money.
You can lower your bill.
That's the power of people. Entergy.
Even the very best heart care is of value only if you have access to it. So here's our pledge. If you have chest pains or symptoms of a heart attack, you'll be seen at any hour, day or night. If you don't have symptoms, but you or your doctor have concerns about your heart, you'll be seen within 48 hours. And even a routine heart check will normally be scheduled within a week. CIS is one of the largest, most advanced facilities in the South with an international reputation for treating heart disease. Call us to schedule your appointment.
And welcome back to One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls. As promised, I told you of Dr. Bill Walsh, that he would be the guest tonight on One-on-One. And growing up as a young kid on Austin Drive, at the end of the street was Dr. Walsh's house. So I knew him, his wife, all the kids, and a big family. Dr. Walsh, welcome to the program. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I still see you riding your bike all around my property and everything. It's always good to see you, but finally got you on One-on-One, and part of the reason I wanted to get you on is because not only did you have a great career as a doctor and in dentistry profession, but you also do a lot of charity work and still continue to do it today. So just to set the record straight and to get it rolling today, take me to the earliest years that you can remember, where you were born, and what's the earliest years you remember as a child?
Well, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. My dad was from Athens, Ohio. My mother's from Cleveland. And of course, this was, they were married in 1930. I was born in 1931. And then the Depression came. And so they went to Athens, Ohio, and lived on the farm, and his father's house. My dad's mother died when he was very young. And they were there until Dad went to work for the federal government. And I don't exactly know what he was doing. He was traveling to universities, interviewing people for jobs in the late 1930s. And when he first went to work, he worked in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And then 6 months after that, moved to Dallas.
Okay.
So I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
All right, you know, and I never knew that.
Yeah, I went to grammar school, to Holy Trinity Grammar School. And right across the street from Holy Trinity Grammar School, Jesuit High School started in 1942. Okay. And I graduated from Jesuit High School in 1949. So we were the 7th class.
So you're a Jesuit graduate.
Well, yeah, and the model of or motto of the school is men for others.
Right.
So, you know, we learned a little bit about that in high school, about taking care of ourselves and helping others and doing things.
Is that sort of what set the tone? What set the tone for you later in life? Because you're still taking care of others. Was it the school? Was it the parental guidance? So where did it kick in at?
Well, I don't know. I think that going to Loyola after that, and then going through dental school. You didn't have much time to be doing charity work and running around because you had to study and work. And then I spent 3 years in the Air Force. And we said this morning, we were talking about that was country club living.
Yeah.
We'd go to work, I would go to work at 7:30 in the morning and finish by 3:30 in the afternoon. And usually, even though I don't play golf very well, on the golf course by 4 o'clock when the whistle blew that you were supposed to be leaving work.
All right. So, but a lot of things you're talking about had regimented backgrounds. You're talking about Jesuit. Of course, I got 2 nephews at a Jesuit school, so during graduation, if you so much as move your hand, they're going to be telling you something. You don't get away with a whole lot. Then Air Force. Did you find you had a lot of life that was regimented?
No, not really, because, well, we lived next door to a captain who worked in the general's office.
Okay.
And when we went to work in the dental clinic, we put on a white, lab coat, and we took off the shirt and we had a T-shirt on, and we were among the first that were allowed to wear shorts.
Really?
And you had to wear shorts and long socks. So, we really didn't have uniforms too much to clean. And the poor man asked me one day when we were at home at lunchtime, said, "How often do you change your uniform?" Well, when I told him once a week, he almost died.
Could stand it up in the corner by itself.
Well, it just, you didn't really, you were in an air-conditioned building all the time. You were doing things.
You didn't sweat a lot. It wasn't hard manual labor outside or anything. Yeah. We
worked hard, and that was a fortunate part of my dental career, because after dental school, when I got that diploma in my hand, I thought, I'm never going to school again. Mm-hmm. But when we got to the service, we had some continuing education courses, and we also rotated through various departments on this base. We were at Lackland Air Force Base, which had 15,000 permanent personnel and 15,000 not permanent personnel that were there training.
Yeah.
And we used to see a lot of graduates, ROTC graduates who were coming to be either pilots or navigators.
What was your workload like? How many dentists were taking care of all those people?
Well, I don't really know how many dentists we had, because you were all in different buildings.
Okay.
We had an oral surgery clinic that we worked in for a while, and 7 or 8 of us at a time, would work in that building. We had an operative dentistry clinic where you did fillings and everything. And so, again, there were probably 10 or 12 of us in there with the dental assistants, the guys, and some of the young men who were dental assistants, and I say young, we weren't too old either at that time, but were studying, were going to college at night, and several of them wanted to go to dental school.
Yeah.
So
sounds like a great place to learn.
Well, it was. And you got to develop speed and things, and it made it easier. We had a guy who went to Florida and said it was really hard to pass the Florida board. Well, not only did he do what he had selected to do for the guy, but he saw a big cavity right next to it, and he asked the board member if he could do that one too, and the guy said okay. So it was just a matter of learning, and you got to see a lot. We really didn't see dependents. We used to sneak those folks in.
Right.
They'd come in the back door.
You get some perks.
Yeah.
You get some perks while you're at. Let me ask you, how did you end up in Houma?
Well, now I married a Houma girl.
All right, I was going to get to that. So she, how'd you meet her? How'd you meet Miss Walsh?
Well, she was a student at Dominican College.
Okay.
And I was at Loyola, and I was in a fraternity, and we went to a fraternity party, and somebody brought Shirley, and we got along pretty well. And so we started dating, and we did, she graduated and went to, it's when I was a freshman in dental school, she was doing a dietetic internship in Charity Hospital.
Right.
And she wouldn't have been there, that wasn't her choice.
Okay.
Okay? But her daddy told her that that was one of the best hospitals in the country, and if she got accepted there, that's where she was going. Okay. And of course, you know, her heritage is Italian. And I don't know how many Italian people you run into routinely, but apparently they tell their kids what they want them to be. Or if they choose, then they don't.
That Italian spirit.
Yeah, they've got a, you know, but it was fine, and we dated while she was doing that. And of course, I was a freshman in dental school, and then I got a job. I worked for the Borden Milk Company in Dallas between my freshman and sophomore year in dental school. Okay. Relieving people's routes, you know, so they could go on vacation. And I made enough money to buy a ring, so I asked her to marry me. And we got married the summer before my junior year in dental school. So she supported me for a year.
Hi, I'm District Attorney Joe Walsh Jr. Every day we help businesses like this collect on bad checks.
Thanks, Joe, for helping us get our checks.
Joe Waits gives us all our money.
Thanks, Joe, for getting our check.
I'd like to thank Joe Waits and his staff for doing a wonderful job collecting our NSF checks.
I'm District Attorney Joe Walsh Jr. If you're issued a bad check, we can help.
Turn your life upside down.
But at the Cancer Center of Thibodeau Regional,
you can tell they really care about their patients.
They treated not only my cancer,
but my soul.
Our cancer program has received recognition for excellence in cancer care twice.
We treat our patients not only with the best technology, but also with the most compassionate care. Cancer can't
beat the care
at Thibodeau Regional.
The Cancer Center of Thibodeau Regional. It's not just a choice, it's your life.
They saved my life twice.
The Homestead, Houma's newest and most luxurious assisted living community.
I feel like it's all family. I know if I need help, there's always somebody there. If we had an emergency, they could take care of all of this. So that really impressed me. It makes me feel good. I feel like it's home.
For more information, visit thehomesteadweb.com or call us at 985-223-HOME. The Homestead on Cottage Drive. The lifestyle you deserve, the services you want.
What are we having for lunch?
The 10-piece combo, half regular, half boneless, original hot with fresh cut seasoned fries, homemade ranch, and a nice cold Coke. How about you?
New glider sandwiches.
The what?
New glider sandwiches. Perfectly delicious fillets of 100% white meat, sauced in my choice of 9 mouth-watering flavors, served on a freshly baked yeast roll. Oh my God.
I'll have what she's having.
The new glider sandwiches, only at Wingstop.
So when did you make it back to Houma?
We moved back to Houma. I finished my tour of duty in May of 1959.
Okay.
And Shirley's daddy built the office on Barrett Street. And I started practicing July 1st, 1959.
Okay. Now, I always remember you living in Mulberry subdivision, but was that your first house?
No.
Where was your first home?
16 Dallas Drive.
Okay.
About half a block away.
Yeah. You know, I don't remember that, so I don't know how old I was, but I always remember you where you are now.
Did you know the Helluans? Jerome, and did you know their children at all?
Right. Well, I interviewed Mr. Jerome on 101 way back. Big football player.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big football player.
Yeah, well, he was playing for Chicago, for Green Bay. And the first year we lived there in '59, he went to Chicago. And then in '60, he went to Houston. That was when the American Football League started. And my dad was a football nut. And so he watched those games. And in Dallas, I guess he could get the games from Houston. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he always said Jerome was the best player on that team.
Right.
Because he knew Jerome.
Right.
You know. But the Helluins lived right across the street from us on Dallas Drive.
Okay.
And so Steve and their boys, they have twin boys that are about your age, all played together. And the Barlows, of course, were right down the street. You know where they were.
Absolutely.
With Eric and them.
We had the Haydells down our street, and of course our family. That was a big neighborhood with a lot of kids.
Yeah, well, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Know.
Let me ask you, you had a large family. Was that something y'all planned on having, or just happened because everybody seemed to have 6 or 7 kids along the way? You were no different.
Well, we had 3 children when we moved to Houma.
Okay.
And Shirley's mother got sick, and Clark Collins was her doctor, and I happened to be at the house one day when he was there, and he said, "Boy, those kids grow up so fast." And I said, "Really?" I said, "I guess we'll have to have some more."
And you did.
And we did. Well, yeah, they were, Steve was born in '59. And then Carol in '62, Patty in '64, and Tim in '66.
Yeah.
So they came pretty quickly after that.
So after that conversation, you had 1 more than you had before, huh? Or 2 more?
And 3 more.
Yeah. So it must have sunk in. So you get to Houma, and what was the climate like in Houma for dentistry back in those days? Set the scene for me.
Well, there weren't many dentists.
Okay.
And most of them were older and hadn't been there for a long time. Leonard Hendricks graduated from dental school in '57, and he had come here. And Poirier graduated in '59, and he ended up in the Haydell Clinic.
Right.
And I guess he started practicing a few weeks before me. And Doug Keller had graduated in '55, and he was practicing in Eunice and just struggling, having a really hard time. And Dr. Barradale died. And what do I want to say? The dental salesman who called on Barradale told Keller about the opportunity to buy that practice. And so Keller did that and ended up in that practice. You know, he was in the building, you might not, where Charlie Spence and Dr. Collins were in that red brick building there on...
And I had Dr. Spence on before both of them on,
Yeah. And so Keller was in that building until he built the building across the street.
Okay.
And, we remained, everybody was friends all this time. We'd go to meetings together and do this stuff. We did a lot of continuing education. It was really important because things were changing.
I saw dentists arguing. They had enough teeth to go around, didn't they?
Well, yeah, there was plenty. Now, there are an awful lot more dentists in Houma, Louisiana today than there were then. And, we got advice from all the older guys, one way or another. But we were friends, and we did things together, and we really, I don't think we ever thought of ourselves as competitors, really. But I feel like the advertising that everybody does, and of course that's good for your business. But I think that makes it much more competitive, and they're trying to say, well, I do this better than so and so, and you get into all of this, and you do that. Keller and we were in the Lions Club, and what club was Poirier in? I don't. But he was in a
Rotary or something.
No, he wasn't in Rotary. He was in a service club. And then I think the next people that came after that were around 66 or 67 when SC came to practice orthodontics here because they didn't have a full-time orthodontist in Terrebonne Parish at that time. And Herb Alexander came, and it kind of built as we went. But it was a good climate, and of course. I look at the fees that they're charging now and say, I should have practiced longer.
Yeah, but you might get the headaches to go with it too. It's changed over the years. How's it changed from, let's even take, for example, what y'all used to put for fillings. Can't use it anymore. I guess mercury or whatever. I'm not,
not
so sure if you
true.
ever did it. They still do it?
Oh yeah, that's
well,
a good filling material.
Educate me then.
Well, you know, they started all of this, was a lot of foolishness many years ago.
Okay.
And they put big fillings in goats or somebody's teeth, and these are animals that chew all day long, and then they were saying that because of that it expressed the mercury out of the restoration, and so you were going to get sick. And so they said if we did, you know, if we as humans had these fillings and we were, every time we were eating, we were expressing mercury into our systems, but that's not proven.
Okay.
They, all the scientific facts say this is still a good restorative material, and it's been around a long time. Yeah. And a lot of people my age who practice dentistry feel like it's gotten a bad name because people wanted to change. And you know, physicians have told people to take all the silver fillings out of their mouth because something was wrong.
Well, you just educated me then.
Well, I had somebody ask me on the golf course the other day who said she was getting a metal taste in her mouth, and she had the silver fillings they could see taken out, and we had put some crowns in her mouth eons ago. She wanted to know if I took all the old restorations out of the, when I did the crowns, and as far as I can remember I did, but you know, that's been a long time.
Yeah.
And you tried to do that. You know, you tried not to leave stuff under the gold crown that you didn't want there, or the porcelain crown.
How has it changed the most? How has dentistry changed the most in, say, the last 30 years? Well,
I think they've perfected the air rotors in these machines more. They have some electric handpieces that people use now. And I think one of the biggest changes is implants. I think that is just a tremendous deal for a lot of reasons. Right. You can replace a single tooth with an implant, and you've got the whole thing back. You don't have to make a bridge and cut the tooth on either side of the space to put it in.
Cancer can really turn your life upside down.
But at the Cancer Center of Thibodeau Regional,
you can tell they really care about their patients.
They treated not only my cancer,
but my soul.
Our cancer program has received recognition for excellence in cancer care twice.
We treat our patients not only with the best technology, but also with the most compassionate care. Cancer can't
beat the care
at Thibodeau Regional.
The Cancer Center of Thibodeau Regional. It's not just a choice, it's your life.
They saved my life twice.
What are we having for lunch?
The 10-piece combo, half regular, half boneless, original hot with fresh cut seasoned fries, homemade ranch, and a nice cold Coke. How about you?
New glider sandwiches.
The what?
New glider sandwiches. Perfectly delicious fillets of 100% white meat, sauced in my choice of 9 mouth-watering flavors, served on a freshly baked yeast roll. Oh my God.
I'll have what she's having.
The new glider sandwiches, only at Wingstop.
Put together a crew of top specialists, and you can do amazing things. Cardiac care at TGMC. It all begins here.
How can I lower my Entergy bill?
Insight.
Insight can definitely help.
Entergy's website that gives you energy-saving tips and tools.
You can compare energy use of those big screen TVs
before you buy.
See how raising or lowering your thermostat can save money on your bill.
Insight lets you see energy costs for a single appliance.
Or your entire house.
Log on to Entergy.com/save money.
See where your energy dollars go.
And save money.
You can lower your bill.
That's the power of people. Entergy.
What's the most rewarding thing about your career? And I know you had a good career. You were able to put a lot of people through private schools and do a lot of things with your children. But when you look at the overall spectrum of what you did, what are you most proud of?
I think what I'm most proud of is that we were able to educate the populace here. And not just me, but the people who came about the need to restore the primary teeth. You know, because if you didn't keep the baby teeth, the primary teeth in place, then you were causing a lot of problems when the permanent teeth would come in. They'd be moving, they'd be in the wrong place. And I think that's one of the rewarding things that we did, because when I first started practicing in '59, people would come in and you'd want to restore those teeth, and they'd say, oh, they're milk teeth, they're going to lose them anyway. You know, and so they weren't too concerned.
So let the baby teeth stay in until you can't possibly keep them anymore.
Yeah, until they, you know, get loose, the roots resorb, and they come out on their own.
Okay.
But, you know, sometimes you get big cavities, and you have to do rather drastic procedures to keep those teeth in place. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think that the people, as you practiced, began to accept what you said more.
Right.
And would do the restorations that you say, you know.
Did you find that the older you got in your profession, that they listened to you more?
Yeah, you were there longer, you know, and they would say it's okay. You know, he's not just trying to make a buck.